story about Mort Davis. Hell, Hardin replied. Everybody knows that story. Kilkenny had a shootout with the three Weber boys and wiped them out. Then some of their outfit chased him down. He was badly wounded, and Mort Davis had taken him in and was caring for him when that outfit came in and tried to take him away from Mort to lynch him. Mort Davis told them where they could go and stood them off with a Spencer 56 until they decided they could have more fun somewhere else with less trouble. You don't forget a man like that, and Mort was a complete stranger to Kilkenny until he rode in there half dead. The word was out that Royal Barnes was hunting Kilkenny, somebody commented. He was kin to the Webers, you know. Half-brother, I think. Wouldn't that be something? Royal Barnes and Kilkenny, two of the fastest gunmen in the West. The difference is, the cattle buyer replied, that Barnes parades it. Kilkenny never did. He just happened to come out ahead in several gun battles with men who weren't smart enough to know better. He never looked for the name and never wanted it. What's he look like? Somebody asked. I never seen him. Nobody agrees, the cattle buyer commented. I've heard 24 descriptions of the man, and every one of them different. He never seems to make himself known until the shooting starts, and then he takes out right after. All they seem to agree on is that he's tall, minds his own affairs, and he's not inclined to talk very much. I also hear he's a top hand in any outfit, a damn good straight-up bronc rider, and a good hand with a rope. He's done some freighting, rode shotgun on a stage a few times, and they say that during the war between the states, he was a dispatch rider for the Union. He scouted for the Army in some of the Indian wars, and he's Irish. Beyond that, I don't think anybody knows very much. There's a whole colony of Irish down there in the Live Oak country, the gambler commented. Brought in there in the 1840s, I think. There's French, Germans, and Swiss, too, Hardin added. Several colonies around San Antone and New Braunfels. Where can a man get a bite to eat? The cowhand asked. There's several restaurants, but if you can do with beef and eggs, just set down over yonder, and we can fix you up. They're fixing breakfast for the boss right now, the bartender added, and I'll just have them put on something extra. When the bartender saw the puncher sit down at a table by himself, he filled a cup with coffee and walked over. This is a good place to hear the news, he said quietly. If I was you, I'd just take my time eating and talk to the boss a while and just keep your eyes open. This here is as good a place as any to spread the word. He added, the way I figure it, you won't see Kilkenny, but if he hears Mort Davis is in trouble, he'll just come riding, and I have an idea you'll be able to go back home with a clear mind. Thanks. The cowhand gulped the coffee, glancing around the room as he did so. A dozen men had drifted in by ones and twos, and conversation flowered in the room. Here and there he could hear a word or two, and most of the talk was of cattle, horses, and men, of trail drives and range conditions and the going price for beef on the hoof. All was familiar, even the brass spittoons on the brass rail along the bar. Even many of the faces were faces he knew from Texas or from trail drives to Abilene, Newton, or Ellsworth, and if not the faces, the style of the men themselves. They came in all sizes and shapes, but there was a common resemblance. All were hard, tough men living out a dangerous game, driving cattle up 1,000 miles of trail from Texas. Through the fog of conversation, he heard casual talk of Kilkenny. The mystery of the man fascinated them, and yet from all Mort had said and from what the cattle buyer had added, Kilkenny sought no mystery and no reputation, and simply went his own way. Kilkenny, someone said, was faster than Hickok or Hardin and had the nerve of Ben Thompson. One man had been in Missouri where two would-be bad men had cornered Kilkenny. Both died before they could fire a shot. Some of the stories, the cowhand was sure, were simply fiction, or stories taken from what was known of some other gunfighter somewhere. This barbed wire, somebody said, won't last in Texas. It's free range, and so it will always be. God made that grass for cows, just like he did for buffalo, and nobody can rightfully fence it in. When the buffalo ran, it was free grass, and so it will always be. I don't know, another said doubtfully. A man likes to know his own cattle and to have his own range. There were millions of buffalo, but they never grazed the same ground 2 days in succession. They just kept moving along north or south. If you get to holding cattle on the range, they'll eat up all that grass in no time. I can understand the thinking of those who want fenced range, but personally I'm against it. What about this range war?